Hello. Hello, everybody in the MindBody community. Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo. It's great to have you here. I am going to give a few minutes for people to come in. Here we are live. So I want to welcome, hello, Nicole. I want to welcome everyone who is listening to the recording, because I know most people are listening to the recording or the podcast. So welcome to you. I'm going to share some really, really juicy, essential pieces of the healing process today in a way that will really help a lot of people unlock what's happening in the healing journey so that things can come into fruition much more fluidly, much faster, and a lot more effortlessly. So many of us are working really, really hard to try to get rid of disease, get out of pain and depression, and not with any awareness really of the process that's happening in the body to allow that release. Hello, Nicole. So grateful for this process today, especially with how intense everything has been. Well, this is why I wanted to do this call specifically about why things seem to get worse before they get better. Hello, Heather and Kara, woohoo, from New York. And I always love hearing where people are tuning in from. Well, what happens, especially on this kind of journey, what I'm guiding you through my work and what some other people are doing in their work, it's very different from kill the disease or fight pain or, everything we've done in allopathic medicine, which has really become in the last 100+ years kind of the conventional standard for everything, not because it's the best for everything, but because it's really become a big political and financial power. It's all about killing the disease, killing the invader. Allopathic is against the pathogen. So it's really about, first of all, finding what's the bad thing, what's the problem, what's the pathogen, whether it's bacteria or virus, or it's like just a disease process, the bad gene, and then like attacking that. How do we overcome that? How do we counteract that? And there in that system is zero space for acknowledging, appreciating, and supporting how do we enhance health? How do we support the body's ability to heal itself? How do we expand the health in the system? So that is why when things feel more intense as the healing is happening, as there's the expansion happening, we make it wrong and we think things are getting worse and this is a bad thing. And then actually a lot of people will do so many things that counteract the process of healing. Hello, Rachel, Emery, Anita, Anne from North Carolina, Katie from Wales. That is awesome. Hello, beautiful Martha. Okay. So what's actually happening as we expand health, there is a process that all of the things that are not aligned with that will move through. So they'll actually come up and they may intensify because what we've done is we've suppressed them. And it might feel kind of temporarily good to just like stuff it and suppress the pain and suppress the process. But then that energy hasn't actually gone anywhere. And what ends up happening is suppression after suppression after suppression. And this is like suppressing my emotions of how I really feel about something, suppressing how hurt I am and not actually meeting my own pain, but just kind of stuff it because, hey, it's not appropriate to cry, or I should be tough and just deal with this. Gazillion ways we suppress pain, or suppressing just our own wisdom. Like, wow, I know this is not really the relationship for me, but I don't understand why. So I'm just going to like suppress that and marry this person anyway, or keep doing what they want me to do, or I really should do for others. So even though it doesn't feel right, I'm just going to keep doing this thing. So we suppress so much of what our wisdom is calling us into. And then it's like all this huge heap of stuff that we've stuffed under the rug, but it ends up taking up so much residence in our system that we don't have space for our essence, for joy, for freedom, for love, for abundance. We aren't actually resonating in the frequency of who we are because all this old stuff we've stuffed takes up so much of the space. You're an energetic being. So even if you can't see it as like dirt in your system, it is an energetic frequency that's very low, and it does affect you cellularly and physically. And that's kind of what detoxification is about. But if you haven't entered a commitment to a higher consciousness, like I honor myself implicitly, I love and accept myself implicitly, if you haven't committed to that, no matter how much detox or eating organic food or trying to rearrange your relationships in your home, it won't actually bring you into a higher space of love, health, and wealth. Okay, so let's look who else is here. Hello, Lois from Connecticut. Okay, so let's just look first at this whole worse, better thing. When things intensify, it doesn't actually mean things are going the wrong direction or that things are getting worse. As you're healing and getting better, things may feel way more intense. I've had a lot of questions lately about the MindBody solution for pain release. So many people having amazing experiences, pain completely releasing and dissolving, even when it's been there for decades. Insights of like the emotions that you've really held and stuffed, completely releasing and feeling a sense of freedom as well as health. And then some people who are saying, whoa, everything's getting really intense, as I have kind of opened the Pandora's box of all the stuff that I didn't even know I stuffed. And so this is a little bit of an answer to that question to help you move through that with more resilience, so that it can just continue to flow through and create the space for your health and wealth and abundance. Okay, so letting go of that idea and that perspective that if I don't feel good, it means things are worse. If I don't feel good, it means something's wrong. That is very much prominent in the allopathic perspective, but it is not the truth of what's going on in the body or how the body moves through healing. Thank you so much for all the love. I love the little hearts that come by. Okay, so hello to Janet and Crystal and Jessica. Okay, so true expansion, which means more abundance, more joy, more love, and all the things that bring health and wealth come in. Not just, oh, I feel better and I escaped all that fear. I feel better and I suppressed all that pain. And it's like a temporary quick fix. But it's like then even if you feel good, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because you know, like, well, it's only going to get so good. It can't be too good. Or you feel better physically in your health, but then your relationships fall apart and you have like turmoil and abuse. Or you feel better, maybe like lots of wealth and abundance and opportunities, but you're physically so worn out that you're like, I'm so depleted, I can't enjoy them. So that's not an actual expansion. When you truly have an expansion, it affects every area of your life. And it definitely can be that everything intensifies as it's moving out. But that is everything intensifying as you're clearing the way for more. You want to actually keep going into that process, not try to back away. Katie says, I realized I've just been so scared that my past is my future and that I might end up bedbound again. What do I do? Okay, so as you go through this work, and if you have participated in the MindBody solution for pain, you'll understand a lot of this. And if you have not, I'm going to put the link. It's drkimd.com/pain-release for any of you who'd like to join. We do also, I wanted to make sure I mentioned, we have a live call for that program that I'm going to be doing with you to answer your questions live. It's going to be next week on Thursday, and we changed it from, it was going to be tomorrow, but it's going to be next week. So everyone who's in that program, you should have received an email about this. You'll receive the invite for next week. As we're truly moving into expansion, all the stuff we've suppressed is going to come up to kind of be really evaluated. Like, will you love me now? Because all these pieces really need is love in order to release. Love is just a higher frequency resonance, and the fear is a lower frequency. We are energy, and it will actually suppress all that stuff right back down. So we sometimes have to feel the fear with willingness, ground into light, I know I am an infinite being having a physical experience. It's okay for me to feel what I feel. And you'll actually feel the energy release. And the processes I gave you in the program will help a ton with that, because the whole program is designed not around pain escape, but pain release. So you're free. And for people like Katie, where it's like, but I'm worried this is going to come back or that's going to come back. All that is the fear pattern re-emerging to say, are you going to still hold this fear, or do you really want to release it? So be anxious for nothing. There's never a reason to buy into the fear, even though we think But the fear says, I have to do this and I have to do that. And then I have this genetic code, or I have this thing, or these foods are bad. But if something doesn't feel expansive or aligned with your joy, it's not going to actually contribute to the expansion of your health. That's a pretty bold statement when there's so much information around there about don't eat wheat, or you have to only have organic. And it's not that those things aren't beneficial, but your body's detoxification system is amplified times a gazillion when you're in the harmonic of love. So yes, some bad, nasty pesticides could sneak into your food and you could detoxify them very fluidly, but not if you're in this pattern of suppression or self-hatred, or I never have what I need, so it's not okay, so I have to keep going, or I really hate my job, but there's nothing better for me, so I have to do this. When you're in those, which is a frequency of consciousness, it affects your body physically, it affects you cellularly, and you actually decrease detoxification. So it's like, then it becomes so much more hard work to try to make the body function in a healthy way, but you never really get there. Okay, so you got to clean out the closet, clean out the spaces, and really allow the body to do what it's designed to do, which is to live in this total vitality. And know, you have the knowing, I know what's going to be a contribution to me. I'll eat these foods, or have these people in my life, or choose this kind of work, and all of the things can be in harmony, but you've got to get into alignment first. So when things intensify, how can you assist the body in moving through them instead of following the fear pattern and just going back into suppression? Nancy says, what do I do with a stuck emotion? I've tried several different methods to release it, but it just won't go. This is a great question. I feel guilty about everything, like I'm overly sensitive and I might have done wrong, and I'm probably punishing myself for hurting people. So the work that we do, whether it's EFT or whatever, yes, it's emotional freedom technique, is for the purpose of creating that space of clarity so we're in harmony. And it's not about getting rid of those emotions. I mean, it does ultimately lead to the release, but if you're doing it to try to make them go away, what you resist persists. So you're actually doing it because you don't want this thing around, rather than inviting, embracing, and holding in a space of love and compassion. All of it, all parts of what you notice, all parts of what you've held. It is essential that you invite these spaces into the light of your compassion, not try to make them go away. And I get it that that's like counterintuitive, but aren't I inviting them into the space of love and compassion so they will just go away? And it's not exactly the same thing. I've got somebody here for a private retreat this week, and she's been deeply in this process herself and had like a huge awakening in the space on her own last night. And then this morning told me like, oh my God, I get it. And I'm totally in my heart. Your mind can't understand, like until you actually integrate a deeper space of love and presence, you can't understand what this is even about. So a lot of people would hear me now and be like, rah, 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 what is she talking about? Or they'll say, oh, I know what you're teaching. It's all that positive psychology, be positive. And it's really not about that. And that's probably what this episode is about the most, is like, can I embrace my darkness? Can I embrace these unwanted things? Can I embrace the spaces that feel so contracted? Can I embrace the spaces that feel so painful? Because it's through my willingness to sit with them that they transmute and release. So with Nancy, I would say for the stuck emotion, go into that emotion, but do it with total willingness, not with victim, like, oh, here I go and get swept up in that anger again. Fine, I'll just go yell and scream. That's not the same thing. That's actually trying to repress the emotion, even as you're trying to express it. If you actually go into it, and how do you want to move, and how do you want to sound, and how do you want to let that through, because the emotion, the energy will move. But you've got to actually let yourself in peace and willingness fully embody it and feel that sensation. So I would say, and we do this a lot in the Mind Body Solution for Pain Release, physicalize the experience. Most people, it's like, how do I know what emotions are in there? Feel what you feel physically. And because even if you're feeling like anger or shame or the guilt that you're having, you actually will feel it somewhere in your body. That energy will like reside somewhere in your physical body. And so if you breathe into that space, presence, relax your shoulders and presence what you feel, and take 10 breaths, breathing right into that area, not to make it go away, not to not have to feel it anymore, to actually invite it. What do you have for me? What's going on here? With curiosity. Just take a few breaths, everyone. Be willing to feel what you feel. So do that right now. Feel your physical body. Willing to feel what I feel right now. Just 3 breaths right now will actually help shift energy, because the light of your consciousness is what transmutes those energies, not some 10-year-long therapy session or understanding it better or learning all this happened in another lifetime. Actually bringing the light of your willing presence. Jimbo, hello. Oh, sweet of you to come from the mountains of Northern California. Elaine, hello from Half Moon Bay, BC. Rachel, is all the crying that comes up suppressed emotions releasing? Yes, it's energy releasing. That's one of the biggest ways that the body will release energy, is through the water, fluid, tears. A lot of energy gets released that way. You'll feel it. She says, I seem to get this quite a lot with this work. So more willingness will let more come through, really fluidly. So it maybe will just allow a huge releasing of it. That's why I wanted to do this live, is because if we can open to say, oh, what's right about this that I'm not getting? This is not the worst thing. This is not, oh my God, this is bad. Something's going wrong. I'm doing it wrong. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. And I can celebrate that and just appreciate this process and support it. Things move so much faster. But if you're crying and there's release, but you're like, why am I crying? Why am I crying? Or I'm scared. Shoot, what's happening to me? Because we feel like we always have to be in control. We suppress some of the energy from moving. So it won't maybe all flood right out. I've had a great relationship with my husband for so many years. And if I'm just moving a lot of energy, sometimes I'll just cry. Like if I'm so tired and like a lot is moving, I'll just cry. And he doesn't even need me to explain. It's like, I got you. I love you. It's all good. Whatever you need. And I'll have an emotional release. And then it's like, all right, I feel really good. I feel really clear. Thanks for holding the space for me. But in the past, I didn't really have that. And so different, especially men, but women do it too, where it's like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on? No, it's not okay. Don't fall apart. Like that's a bad thing. And so people generally don't hold the space for us to let that whole falling apart happen, which is a mega awesome release. But the worst part of it is we don't hold the space for ourselves. We need to understand what's going on. Like, is something wrong with my hormones? I shouldn't be crying like this. And then we go down the whole path of trying to fix the problem, when it's like, the body's like, can I just have 10 minutes to let it all go and not have to have you understand what's going on or control it? Because your body can go through a massive reboot if you would make space and allow it. And it can happen relatively quickly. Kate says, my fear and what I'm afraid of has come up since starting the pain relief program. And that's what I wanted to speak to here. And we'll speak to it even more in the live call. How do you hold the space for this energy so it can release, instead of keeping it in, and it creates physical pain, sometimes for decades of our lives. 100% of the time when I've seen people with chronic pain, not the same as acute pain that, gets better when you treat it. Chronic pain is suppressed sensation. So can you let yourself sense and feel this fear, as intense as it may be, with love and presence and willingness? Breathe through that to support what's happening instead of needing to suppress it. Elaine says, is it like being a Buddhist, being kind? It's like being a Buddhist, being kind, not to receive good things back, but knowing you will receive without expecting it. Yes, kindness for the sake of kindness, love for the sake of love, loving your body for the sake of, I get to show up and be love for my body, this body in need. Not, okay, I'll be love, but hey, body, better shape up and get it together. Or I'll be love, but I must be doing it wrong because nothing happened. It's like love as manipulation as opposed to love for the sake of love. So that's a beautiful analogy. Thank you. Anne says, how do I know if I'm releasing and more is coming up, or I'm not releasing at all? I am trying to feel the space you're asking this from. You'll feel it. When stuff comes up, you'll feel it. And if you can feel it with appreciation, it will, you're in a higher frequency, so it can move through really, really fluidly. If you're not releasing anything, nothing changes. So you're just like, okay, I did this thing, but I don't know. I have the same pain I've always had, or I have the same fatigue I've always had. And it doesn't really feel like I've made space for anything. So you won't really feel a change or a shift. If you're releasing, you're going to feel a profound shift. And this piece I'm adding today, that shift can make you like, wait a minute, I'm not so sure about this. Or like, oh yeah, this is the exact upheaval that I've been asking for. Thank you, body. Release, release, release. It's okay to let all of this go and to nurture yourself through the process. Deborah says, I've been releasing so much. It's definitely gotten worse before and hopefully getting better. Emotionally, I feel lighter. So this is the piece, and it might speak a little bit to what Anne is asking. You'll feel emotionally lighter. And even just the knowing of like, oh, this process is a good thing, will feel lighter when we're in that expansion. It's like a recalibration, can feel a little disorienting, but it's like new information coming into the body, and all the old programs of I hate myself, I'm not okay, I don't have what I need, all of that kind of dumping. So just supporting your body through that, it'll actually feel lighter mentally, emotionally. Like, okay, months back, I had this, so I'd had migraine headaches a long time ago, and then they just kind of morphed into these like really chronic tension headaches, very severe. And I knew that at some point this would release, but it was never really the highest priority. There were other things integrating and other things releasing. And so in the last year, I was aware like, oh, this is the thing that's up. This is the thing that's ready to go. It's getting all of my attention, and it's morphing. And before it completely cleared, I had this like unthinkable migraine, like super, super intense. I'm like on the floor. But because I understood the process I was in real appreciation of like, I know energetically, emotionally what I've cleared, and that this is the body letting it go. And I was like kind of in celebration of like, holy word, I know what this means, and nurturing my body through it, and not with fear or like, oh God, not again. It was with the total knowing of what was happening. So I kind of could have a positive experience of it, even though it was physically, painful. That's the difference between physical pain versus physical pain that's chronically linked to old emotions that you haven't released and really anchors it in. Estelle says, is crying always positive for our energy? Releasing emotion through tears is always helpful. There may be other ways that if you'd make even more space, that the energy could release in a more joyful way. But when we're so repressed, sometimes the only way we let it out is through a good cry. And so if you're that repressed, then yes, it freaking is so positive to let it come out through crying. So I would never, ever resist that. Always take it when you can get it. But it's also worthwhile to ask like, is there a way I can make even more space for this energy to move through in an even more fluid way? Okay, Stacy says, every time I do the EF tapping, for one thing, another thing surfaces. And that's actually the point, Stacy, is it's helping you go deeper with deeper energies and emotions that have been suppressed. So if you've got like a problem in your neck, but then it's like, oh, all this frustration, or I feel so powerless, or I'll never make it. Those are the energies, emotional energies that underlie the physical. So in the mind body solution for pain release, it very much brings you immediately an awareness of that. How do you go deeper and have more awareness of what's underneath the physical, or underneath that emotion, and underneath that emotion, what energies are there? Or was there an experience or a trauma that happened somewhere along the way? Maybe you don't even remember it, that kind of underlies a lot of this, and it will bring you deeper into the experience. She says, I'm so tired because it makes me feel worse, and I'm tired of dealing with all the shit that I've suppressed over the years. It seems like it will never end. So when we're in a conditional, like I'm conditionally willing to presence the shit, that's going to be your experience. So I would invite you, what would it take for me to be unconditionally present to myself, like I would to a beautiful child, like I would to my little sweet daughter or son, or if you don't have a child and maybe there's a child in your life, but it's like that. The self and the way that you've held things is like a little kid who's like, no, I'm not coming out. I hate you and I never want to see you again. And the way we, most people wouldn't deal with a child and say, what do you mean? You shouldn't say that. You'll realize like that child's hurting and they need love. But the way we deal with ourselves is very much this like berating. What's wrong with you? I've given you lots of love. Why aren't you better yet? You should be better. Not realizing like that's not unconditional love. Your body cannot be fooled. So that would be the thing I would share with that. Deborah says, when I'm in my heart space, people react to me differently. Yeah, and I think we did it in the Mind Body Live in the last couple of weeks. We're just presencing the heart, letting yourself be in the space of you. Not, it was 1 week ago when we did it. And we talked about relationships and how a lot of people, we lose ourselves in relationships and then we're like, I'm over there with that person and my energy's over there with them, versus like my energy is right here in my body with me. And that's the most powerful place where we can experience our lives. But, if we're in pain, we kind of, I want to escape and just feel good. But that's not the same as true healing. Randy says, oh my gosh, this is exactly what's been happening for me. All of a sudden, I've had even more bills. My hours at work got cut back because they said I wasn't doing a good enough job. It triggered all kinds of shame and unworthiness. Yes. So you're getting to the core of what's been creating all the stuff in your life that really doesn't resonate for you. And sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. Like you're like, well, this is totally unacceptable. So I'm going to leave this job and I'm going to choose to honor myself. What else is possible? I'm going to choose to receive something higher. We have to make space for that, to let that new thing in. And sometimes things do have to be worse before we'll choose differently. And it's always a gift. Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Courtney, Deborah, Mary, your inner child. Yes. Kate, it's safer. Is it safe to feel the fear? I have oceans of it. Yes, it's safe to feel the fear. Anchor yourself in a space of light. Bring in light. Feel the light. I honor and appreciate all of who I am. I'm willing to let myself experience this fear instead of suppressing it or running from it or escaping of it, or having an addiction to escape it. It's okay for me to feel this. It's just energy. It's just a sensation. So the mind will tell you all kinds of things. Journal. Write down what you notice. The mind will say, but it's never ending. But if I sit with it, it'll get worse. Is that true? So you can really look at these things that are running the show and just ask, is it actually true? Put your hand on your heart. And there's a knowing like, no, that's not even the truth of who I am. The truth of my nature is love. And it's all okay. It really is okay. I can stay in the space of love and let all these energies come up. It's going to change our world. My gosh, if each individual or just even like the group of us who are here, 50, 100 people live on the session, like can allow fear to release from our embodiment, it will powerfully, tangibly shift the planet. That's how powerful we are. Estelle says, thank you for the mind body tool for releasing pain and fear. It's helping me every morning. Oh, thank you. Deborah, we can't let other people define us. Yes, and we did put the link here for the Mind Body Solution for pain release if people are interested in joining. And we'll be live together for that next week in a Zoom call. What else did I want to say? This process. It's part of the process. Understanding this is part of the process and that it's worth it because the freedom you create is astronomically bigger than any of the fear you've held. So rather than trying to use tools to make the pain go away or make the emotions go away, it's to use them to feed, love, and nurture yourself. And that will be exactly the thing that lets your body open up and let all of those energies release. Like that part is the cherry on top. It happens for you. It can't not happen. But don't be afraid to keep nurturing, loving, unconditionally presencing everything that comes up. Okay, what else? So I want to say thank you to everyone who's been here live. We will certainly post this recording. And I know this also on YouTube, so hello to everyone on YouTube. I'll be here every week at 11 a.m. live from MindBody TV. I've also been playing around on Instagram. So for those of you who are there, I'm at Dr. Kim Duramo, at Dr. Kim Duramo in Instagram. We do have 2 spots that are open for the retreat coming up in a few weeks. So reach out to me personally if it seems like that resonates for you. I would love to have you come to the retreat out here in Durango. We have a beautiful, amazing small group of women who will be here for the health, wealth, and wholeness retreat. And in whatever way you're receiving this work, whether it's through the Mind Body Solution for Pain Release, or working with me live in the retreat, or just tuning into the weekly live Facebook live, in the Mind Body community, whatever is feeding and fueling you, just know you can receive everything you need in whatever way that fits for you, and let it just feed your own expansion. And through that expansion, all these other lower things, beliefs, ideas, limitations, whatever, releases on its own. Jamie, hello. She said, when I was expanding deeply into pain, I knew I had to equally expand into pleasure. It was compassionate with myself. It took time out. I was compassionate with myself and took time out to be good to myself. This is such a key. And that's why we've got to love and nurture ourselves with the tools, not try to fix the pain and make it go away. How can I love and nurture myself today with, I'm drinking nice water, I'm going to hydrate, I took an infrared sauna, or just maybe I just relax my shoulders and breathe and speak a little more slowly. It could be the subtlest thing, or it could be something really notable, like you book an appointment, have a massage or take a bath with Epsom salt. But it's the subtlest things that make the biggest difference. I'm going to presence my body throughout the whole day, breathe more fully, speak more slowly, keep my presence in my body, and relax. That will feed you more than anything physical, any food you could ever imagine. Okay. Estelle says, is the pain program for emotional pain also? Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Physical, emotional, mental, and also like chronic illness where it's like chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia or, anxiety, depression. It's really all the same energy of our suppression that has these illnesses, autoimmune illness, thyroid disease, Hashimoto's, emerge in the body. And so this unwinding and release process creates so much more and really makes space for healing. All right. Thank you. Deborah says, this has been really helpful. All right. Lots of love to everyone who's been here. I'm at drkimd.com. We'll be here live each week in the Mind Body community on Facebook, or you can tune in on YouTube and subscribe there. And subscribing on the website, there's a quiz it takes you through to get some clarity on wait a minute, what's my biggest stuck point of where I've been not in alignment with health, not in alignment with abundance and flow. And so if you go to drkimd.com, there's a start here button. It will bring you through that quiz to give you some really key insights on how you can open things up right away. All right. Lots of love to you. I'll see you soon. Bye.